Hey guys, thanks for joining me for this 35th episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Special guests for this episode include actor Zachary Gordon, has the new movie Dreamcatcher, which is available in theaters on demand and on video on demand tomorrow. We'll also visit with our good friend, Texas country artist Hayden Haddock, got a brand new single, Honky Tonk On. We'll also visit with Seeb Levermann of Orden, Ogan. Got an upcoming new album, Final Days, we'll be talking about, and our final guest will be our friend Dylan Jakobsen. We'll be talking about his new music, including the new single, Don't You Think? Of course, if you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and share with your friends. Well, is there a more fitting song than this to freak out over? 53-year-old Mary Ann Lannon has lived with her cousin in Clearwater, Florida for the last 5 years, and earlier this week, she lost it when the cousin wouldn't stop blasting the same song over and over again on a loop. Now, it happened around 12:15 in the morning on Tuesday, and the song she freaked out over was Chic's 1978 disco hit, Lay Freak. You know, the one where they sing Freak Out over and over. Well, Mary Ann shoved her 64-year-old cousin into a makeshift tiki bar that they'd set up, and it collapsed. Her cousin fell through the bar, landed face first on a speaker, and ended up with a black eye. Now, cops arrested Mary Ann for domestic battery, and she's not allowed to have contact with the cousin, at least for now. Another very special guest, you might remember him from a small series, the Diary of a Wimpy Kid franchise. Well, he's changed it up a little bit. Zachary Gordon got a new movie coming out this Friday in theaters on digital and on demand called Dreamcatcher. And Zachary, first off, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Oh, thank you. It's always a treat to, talk with someone, especially during these times, so thank you for getting on the line with me.
Now, Zachary, tell us how much did you have to stretch your abilities for the role in Dreamcatcher, and how much different are folks going to see you after it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that segues into really what the craft is about for me now, which as I'm getting older and as I'm, trying to choose different roles that are a departure from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, obviously appreciate the fans for coming along with me. I think it was a no-brainer to see a project like this and go, okay, well, how can I believe that someone is actually trying to kill me, but really believe it? And I think it was a challenge that it was time to take something like this on, especially because I'm at a place in my life and in my career where I know that I want to do this indefinitely. So the more work I put in now and the more, again, I challenge myself, the more I'll be able to hopefully find out what I want to say and bring that into other projects. And I like to think that I did in this, and I hope people feel the same way when they watch it.
Now, talk about Dreamcatcher, how the script was first presented to you, what your original thoughts were, and then once the shooting took place. I mean, was this all done before COVID or during or a mix of both, if you will?
Well, this is a very interesting question. I think I want to touch on the filming part first. We filmed this about 2 years ago, so it's been quite some time. Thankfully, we didn't have to deal with the regulations and how filming is now with COVID, when times were a little more normal. But I think it's cool because I'm sitting down here with you and I'm getting to relive a lot of these moments for the first time in a weird way, because life happens and it keeps happening. So that being said, we filmed all over Los Angeles, and the script, again, like I was saying, when I got the script, it was just easy for me to say yes, and there were a lot of reasons for me to potentially, as an artist, not want to take a risk. There's a first-time director, and not that Jacob wasn't incredible with how he executed this film and how he deals with the actors, Jacob Johnson. But I think there's a lot of preconceived notions that come along with first-time directors. Not that they aren't good. There's pressure. Some can have an ego. Some aren't willing to take chances. Some don't want to hear what other people have to say, and some are able to collaborate with. And that's what this is. It's a collaboration. And Jacob gave a lot of us the free rein to explore the emotional depth and truth of the scenes and play around. And if we wanted to ad-lib, and that's where the trust can be built. And that's the only way I don't want to say a real movie, but that's the only way real emotions and there are real risks being taken on set. So, I have to say he made our job easy.
Now, with Dreamcatcher being done before, obviously, just like everybody else, Zachary, you've had time to kind of stew in your emotions and in your thoughts and goals. How has maybe your goal setting changed, or your goals at work? I mean, has things changed since having some time to maybe be a little introspective?
Things have definitely changed. For all of you viewers out there who, are artists or in a profession and maybe it consumes life, acting was everything for me, and I would like to say I didn't have a healthy balance. And I think realizing that my identity is separated from my career was a big thing that came out of idle time. I think I'm learning what I want to say, and I'm more of an artist as a whole. I've always wanted to sing, play guitar, write music, write scripts. I want to direct, I want to produce, and I think I'm great at acting. I've been doing it for 15 years. If I may say so myself, I think I've put in the time, and it's time to branch out. And I want to keep acting. I want to do it indefinitely. But I think a lot of those other things that I'm working on now will color my work in a wonderful way. And I'm sure, like I was saying, for people listening out there, if there's other things you want to do, this has given me the time to explore those avenues. And it's been very rewarding in an artistic way.
And again, the new film Dreamcatcher coming out on Friday, theaters, digital, on demand. And Zachary, what maybe in 2020, what was the most COVID related maybe purchase that you made?
COVID related purchase. I wouldn't say this is so much COVID, but I've been in my house so much that I was tired of looking at a blank wall, and I have a little bit of money, saved up. I've been learning about finances. So that's been a great thing coming out of COVID, is a lot of people my age don't necessarily know a lot about finances and taxes. And so that's been a great thing as well. That being said, I bought a painting, my first painting, and it's like this graffiti style art thing of Superman. And it was just so cool. It's like street art. And I hope to expand the collection as the years go on, and hopefully, I keep finding ways to support myself as an artist. But yeah, that was something really cool that came out of COVID.
See, now you've got the perfect Zoom background, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. Unfortunately, it's actually so giant that it'll just look weird if I hang it up behind. People will be like, "What is that? Is that just?" They won't get it, but I get it, and that's all that matters.
That is right. And again, the new film, Dreamcatcher, theaters, on digital, on demand, this Friday. Zachary, I also want to make sure and let everybody know where to keep up with everything you've got going social media-wise as well.
Sure thing. All the updates on Dreamcatcher releasing this weekend will be on my social media pages. It's at Zachary Gordon, so that's ZACHARYGORDON. And drop me a message. I'm not just saying that. I really like responding to people, especially during these times. I think we could all use some human connection, human interaction. And any questions about filming, acting, or just life, drop me a line. So thanks for listening. I hope anyone out there watched this weekend. I had a lot of fun making it, and there's a lot of heart in it.
All right. Well, Zachary, it's been great to visit with you this morning. Continued success, and hopefully we'll catch up again real soon, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, no one goes to social media for calm, measured opinions, but if you're looking to debate sports or, well, blow off some steam, I guess Twitter's an option, right? Well, a study analyzed posts and reaction for more than a dozen sports to determine which one had the angriest fans on Twitter. And surprisingly, it's one of the calmest sports: golf. Maybe it's all that pin-up rage. Well, here are the top 10. Number 1, golf. 42% of all tweets about golf were classified as angry comments. Number 2, soccer. 28%. Number 3, Major League Baseball, 26%. Number 4, National Football League, 21%. Number 5, Boxing, 19%. Number 6, NHL, Formula One, and competitive darts are all tied at 13%. And of all the sports, I think I'd least like to encounter an angry dart thrower. Number 9 was cycling with 11%. Number 10, NBA and rugby tied at 9%. Number 12 was tennis at 8%, and number 13, cricket, 4%. Now, golf is also number 1 among tweets with a wow reaction. 11% of golf tweets are classified that way. It's tied with cycling, which also had 11%. Now, competitive darts is next at 9%, which is tied with tennis and Formula One. Now, apparently fans in the 4 biggest U.S. sports are too busy being angry or sad to be sharing their awe. Now, speaking of upset fans, NBA fans share the most sad tweets. 38% are categorized that way. Major League Baseball fans are next at 34%. And the sport with the happiest fans? That would be boxing. 37% of boxing tweets are happy. Soccer is next at 31%, followed by golf at 23%. Now, the fans sharing the most loved tweets, heart-eyed emoji style, is a tie between the NHL and cricket. 58% of the tweets from those sports are all about love. Always good to have our friends back on the show, and none more friendly, I don't think, than Hayden Haddock. He is still number 1 on the guest list here on Good Questions. And Hayden, always good to visit with you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. Yeah, I do my best to be as nice as possible with you. You just get special treatment.
There you go. Now, Hayden, since we spoke last, obviously got the new single "Honky Tonk On," and we're playing it here. And what's the feedback been like so far here, early going wise?
Yeah, first off, thank you for playing it. But yeah, no, people seem to like it. I know we had Jen sent me a couple things where it was like the number 1 most added single, or something like that, most downloads or whatever. So as far as I know, people are liking it, and I know it's something a little bit different from me. I guess it's my first pretty up-tempo song that we've released out there to radio. So I think people will like it, and especially as the weather heats up and it starts becoming pool time and lake time, I think it'll do well. Good, it's a good summer song in my mind.
There you go. Now you've had the chance to get out and play since we last spoke, and what's it been like? Have the crowds been getting a little bit more excited as the days have gone by?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's been awesome to get back out there. And yeah, you can definitely tell. You could tell a difference kind of when they first let us start playing. People were definitely still a little timid. Crowds were still pretty small. And now I'm assuming it has something to do with, people are getting their vaccine, and
right.
Like some people are probably just over all of it and just don't care anymore. I don't know. But crowds are definitely starting to fill back up, obviously within the restrictions and all that stuff. But yeah, it's you can tell there's a sense of normalcy kind of coming back, which is at this point, that's what I'm happy to see.
Yeah. Now, what was it like the first time you got up? Were you a little nervous, a little timid the first time getting back up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I don't. At this point, we've been pretty busy, so I don't remember exactly what show that was. But yeah, I do know. Yeah, I mean, just because we didn't play a full band show for 6 or 7 months or something like that. And then we did like a little rehearsal, but yeah, just kind of the little jitters were a little bit more than normal. And then, yeah, just kind of anxious to see how everything was going to go with all this stuff. And then the biggest thing was I was worried that, we were going to get out there, start playing, and then everything was going to shut back down again and we'd be back to square one, which luckily, didn't happen necessarily. So could have gone worse. But other than that, we were just happy to get out and be able to play live music again.
Now, I believe last time we spoke was the week before Christmas, and how much of a difference have you seen in the new year? Have you noticed a difference in the fans and social media wise?
Right. Yeah. Everything's going well, and luckily for me, over the past 6 months or so, we've been on a pretty steady uphill curve there, and so my social media numbers have been growing. Streams have been growing. We got added to some of the bigger like Spotify playlists and Apple playlists and stuff like that. So streaming numbers are doing well. Obviously, Where You Come In, the last single, that one did all right for me. Not exactly where I wanted it, but it did all right. And then obviously now, like I said, we're getting good feedback with the new single that's not even been out to radio a week yet. So we're doing good. Everything's still looking up for me. So I think we're doing all right.
Now, how much has your vision changed in the sense of releasing music and kind of the expectations of a single when you do release it now?
Right. Yeah, we're me and Trent. We've kind of gone back and forth the past few months about releasing new music because obviously we're over a year now from releasing the record Red Dirt, Texas, and so normally our goal originally was to shoot for basically put out new music every year, promote for a year, and then put out music. And basically, we just kind of got to talking and thinking about it, and we just kind of decided there wasn't really any rush to get a new album out there or whatever. And we may end up putting a single out or something, a new single, out or something like that. But other than that, we're just going to kind of take our time. We're going to shoot for new music around summertime this year, but we just wanted to take our time and make sure that we, love every song. We don't rush anything because, in us talking, we kind of think this third record is going to be the one that kind of gives me that extra little push to get to the next level of my career. So we just want to make sure all the songs are great, all the songwriting's great, all that stuff. And we just don't feel the need to rush anything. And, I see all these people put out music, it seems like every 2 weeks, and I'm like, man, I don't know. It's just, it's hard for me to, see how you can believe in everything you're putting out if, you're putting out music every week or something, so we just want to take our time and make sure it's exactly what we want. That way we get the result that we want out of it.
and to see that growth in the midst of the pandemic and seeing the last couple singles in the pandemic do as well as they did. I mean, how proud of that are you? And how much did your social media and like those Facebook lives help with that as well?
Yeah, those definitely helped a lot. Social media, without social media, I think all of us artists would have been screwed throughout the pandemic. That's literally pretty much the sole thing that kept everyone's music careers going. So I know for me, I probably did, it had to be 50 or 60 of those Facebook lives just for whether it was for different radio stations or for even on my own page or whatever it may be. But yeah, definitely doing those, like I said, with the different radio stations or little media outlets or whatever, it helped a bunch because you're able to get exposed to, let's just say 200 people watching at the time, but those 200 people are from all over the country, if not all over the world. So, it was a good way to get your name out there. And then, obviously just letting people know you're still alive, post on your social media, get on there, just kind of, do whatever. So yeah, social media definitely came in very handy throughout the pandemic. I just hope we don't have to go back to that.
Yeah, I know, right? Now the new single, tell us the story behind it and all that as well.
Yeah, so new single, like you said, it's called Honky Tonk On, and basically, me, Trent Willman, and Jim Collins wrote this song, and we kind of got into the room, and we didn't really know what we wanted to write about. And I think I was talking to Jim Collins, and he was just asking me, so playing in Texas, you play a lot of those honky tonks, right? And I'm like, yes, sir. Yeah, it's mainly what we do. And I think he said something about Honky Tonk On or something. And then I was like, you know what? I don't have a song about the honky tonk, actually. I was like, I definitely need one. So then we just kind of went on it from there. And Jim just, writing with Jim Collins was crazy. And I don't know if you know who he is, but he wrote She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy for Kenny. He wrote The Good Stuff for Kenny. Yep. He wrote Big Green Tractor for Jason Aldean, I'm pretty sure. So you can tell he likes tractors. But no, and then he's a big songwriter, and so it was awesome to get in the room with him. But writing with him was just crazy. That man did not stop just throwing out ideas. I mean, just every 2 seconds, like it was just, whether it worked or not, he had ideas every second. And I'm the complete opposite. When I'm writing, I will be dead silent until I have an idea. And watching him was like watching the Energizer Bunny going. So it was a really good experience. And yeah, I think we got a fun song out of it, and a song that especially people here in Texas and, people that go hang out at the honky tonks, I think they'll all relate to it.
Now for you, what is your go-to if you're in a writer's block? What do you turn to for your first line of defense?
Yeah, I don't really know. Probably some whiskey. I don't know. But no, I don't really know. I don't know. Most of the time, like I'll just kind of wait until something comes to me. I'm not the kind. I don't sit down like every day and try and write a song. Songwriting is definitely not my strong suit. So I'm not. Yeah, I don't sit there and try and write every day. I'm sure I should, but I don't know. I just don't. But if something comes to me, like I'll put it in my notes, or I'll send it to Trent and be like, hey, what do you think about this idea or something like that? And then, if we're in a room trying to write a song, and and I guess I get writer's block or whatever, I just kind of sit there. I'll get up, go walk around for a minute, go do something like that, and just try and get everything working again. But I don't know. I've never really thought about it that much, actually.
Now, last time we talked, I know we visited a little bit about working with Trent, and you've had a little bit longer time. What has he really been focusing on as far as your growth is concerned?
Right. Yeah, so he actually just came on as my manager about a month ago. So I'm the first artist he's managing, which obviously is a huge blessing and a big plus for me and my career. So like I said, we're me and him, we've started writing for the next record. We've got about 4 or 5 songs together right now, and I think the plan is to do another album. So we'll probably try and get another 10 songs out. So anyways, we're just kind of writing for that. He's Trent's scrounging up some outside songs for me that he's going to let me hear and see if we want to run with any of those. And then outside of that, the biggest thing has been Trent's actually been helping a bunch with my live show, just in terms of set list and transitions from song to song and players and stuff like that. Just making sure that we can go out and put on a hell of a live show, because at least in me and his mind in Texas, your career's kind of built a lot around your live show. It's not all about how much music do you have out there or how often are you releasing music. It's if you can go out and live, sound like the record, play it like the record, and be entertaining, and you should be good. So that's probably been the biggest focus, is just making sure we get the live show together. And then I signed that deal with Red 11 Booking, and so Trent's been working with Jeff, my agent, a bunch, and just make sure we're getting on shows that are going to positively impact my career. And we're just trying to sail the ship along, I guess you could say. So just little stuff like that is what we've been doing, just kind of getting everything in order how it should be for the future, and so that when we do release this next record, everything's flowing all right.
That's good stuff. Well, Hayden, I always want to make sure and let our listeners know the website, social media, all that stuff, and where to get the album, the new single, all that as well. Yeah.
So easiest thing to do, obviously I've got all social medias: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I have a TikTok. I posted one video. I'm not a big TikToker. I'm trying to get better at it, but you can follow me there if you want. And then, music's available on all streaming platforms, wherever you can find music. Same with the single. That's on the single Honky Tonk On is on the record, Red Dirt, Texas. But the easiest thing to do is just go to my website, which is haydenhaddock.com. And that has links to all the music, all the social media, merchandise, tour dates, anything you could possibly want to know about me will be on that website.
All right. Well, Hayden, always great to visit with you, my friend, and hopefully you have a great rest of your week. Looking forward to some more success stories and catching up again real soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Has this year of people living in sweatpants given us a great opportunity to do a reset on fashion? I mean, why not, right? Well, a new survey asked people what fashion trends they'd like to leave in the pre-pandemic era and not see again as we move forward. And here are the top 5. Number 1, tight jeans. Number 2, pleather. Number 3, thongs. Number 4, rompers. And number 5, bodysuits. Now, the survey also found 47% of people think formal clothing will become more comfortable coming out of the pandemic. Our next guest, we're going to get introduced to a little new music today. From across the pond, Orden, Ogan. I think I've tried a couple of times. Seeb on the line with us. And first off, Seeb, thanks for making the long-distance call today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Now, where did the name of the band, where did that come from? First off, that's got to be the first question I've got to ask you.
Yeah, it is around for a very long time. I mean, we count the history of Orden Ogan from 2008 on, when the Veil record, our debut, was released. But actually, there was quite some time before where we were just pupils hanging out, eating pizza and stuff like that. And even back then, the name was kind of around. So that's why you can read some misconception, like some weird stuff on Wikipedia saying that the band was actually founded in 1996. I didn't even have a decent guitar back then. That was not a real band. So the professional band that you know right now was founded in 2008, and the name is basically Orden is the German word for religious order, and Ogan is Old Celtic for fear. So it's the order of fear, and I do think, I mean, in 2008, we really thought about maybe changing the name, but we were so used to it already that we've said, okay, maybe we just keep it like that.
Now, for you, where did the Fuse first introduction to music, or you loving music? Where did that introduction first happen for you?
I personally can remember I think I have music in my head since I can remember that I'm thinking in my head. So my dad used to be singer in a band as well. He listened to a lot of these 1950s and 60s beat music bands like the Hollies and stuff like that. Yeah. And I actually think that this is why we do so much stuff with vocal harmonies and melodies and stuff like that. A lot of people come to me saying like, oh, you must be a huge Queen fan because you like all these vocal harmonies and stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I don't dislike the band, but I never really listened to Queen. So I think it comes from like all these beat music, basically from the 60s and 50s. They were the true kings of vocal harmonies, like they were singing everything live in the studio. It's really, really some really amazing things on there. Yeah. But when you ask me, I mean, I don't know, when I was like 10 years old or something, I discovered an old acoustic guitar in the closet of my grandma. And I was like, what this? Like, just making some noise. And then it was, then I was already lost.
Now, this last year, as you guys have had the band for so long, this last year, obviously, unlike any year you guys have seen so far, what has been the focus of the band and the sound, maybe the songwriting this past year?
Actually, we were planning to release our new record Final Days last year already, like in September or something. The thing is, we started the pre-order of the record in November 2019. And at that time, we already had a lot of stuff written. We had basically everything written. We had a lot of vocals recorded, a lot of guitars recorded. We did drums and the choirs in December 2019. And then it was like, I mean, I don't believe in stuff like that, but it felt like if somebody didn't want us to get this thing finished. Like some evil spirits, I don't know. There was, I mean, literally, I'm not kidding, literally everything that can go wrong went wrong from that point on. There were so many situations that threw us back like 1 week each that I can't even remember anymore. Like when we did the drum recordings, I had to go to the music store like 5 days in a row because microphones broke down. He broke his right cymbal. Who breaks the right cymbal? And just a lot of stuff. When I was doing the guitar recordings, I had problems with the power grid in my studio all of a sudden. And then I had to go into another studio and I just could work there in the nighttime because obviously the studio was booked at the daytime. And when I was back in my studio, obviously, of course, the problems with the power grid were gone. I mean, it's like that. And by the time that COVID hit, we were already cynical, like, and the worldwide pandemic. What else? Come on.
What else you got to throw at me?
And it was, I mean, obviously, of course, we couldn't go to the locations where we wanted to. We couldn't work with all the people we wanted to. Actors couldn't come there. Then there were these restrictions by the German law and German government. And so it was really terrible. And actually, I really have to say, it took us like almost that whole year, 2020, to get the thing finished. I mean, I can really remember I sat down. I was sitting in my car at a lake here around with we're like out in the countryside. I have a beautiful lake here. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting on this lake at December 24th, Christmas, in the night on my own, listening to the final master. And I was like, Merry Christmas! It's finally done.
Has the frustration, all of that, does that make you appreciate the finished product this time around maybe a little bit more than maybe in times past?
Yes. I mean, I have my own studio and I'm working with a lot of bands and I did a lot of productions, but I never experienced something like that. This was really crazy. And I mean, obviously, in that year, I also had some other productions that have been booked before, so I had to take care of them as well. I was working with a German power metal band called Brainstorm, for example. This is the perfect example. They came to the studio, we set up the drums, recorded it fine, recorded guitars fine, recorded vocals fine, everything fine, no issues, not at all. Going back to Orden, Ogan, everything went down the drain. It was really. I mean, the guy who was there's a bonus DVD from the last show that we did in 2019, I think it was. That was the last show of the Gunman touring cycle, and we did that in a saloon in an adventure park that we have here, like very very nice location, and very fitting because it was a dark Wild West record, and. It actually started back then because all the audio tracks that we recorded were like totally corrupted and had to be restored, and this took ages. What was the question? I think I lost it.
How you've appreciate the final product this time around, maybe above the ones before?
Yes. Yeah, a lot. Because what I wanted to say, this DVD, for example, that was another perfect example. There was a guy who was supposed to do the menu structure of the DVD so that you can basically click through that and pick the songs and stuff. And he did that. He sent that over to me and he was like, can you check it? And I checked it and it was fine. And he said, okay, I just figured there was one little problem. I will fix that and I will send you the final data to go into production. And I was like, okay. And he sent me the final files 2 hours later. And I wanted to click on forward to production, and I was like, maybe not. And then took that final file, put it on a DVD, and put it into a player just to double check again. And the only thing that the player showed me was a folder structure. And I was like, okay, great. This is the final file for production. So, but it didn't surprise me anymore because, at that point, I was already expecting that to happen. So everything, like I said, everything that could go wrong, it all went wrong.
Now
now it's done and it's great to have it done finally.
The sound that you guys have, where does that come from? The overall. I know that's good stuff. Where did bringing all the voices in, the choirs, all of that? Where did that originate for you?
Yeah, like I said before, I think when it comes to this orchestral or the choirs and the vocal and stuff, I do really think it is because I listen to so much of this beat music of the 60s and stuff. And, my dad used to sing a lot when he was at home. And so I was singing along when I was a kid as well and stuff, So I think that comes from that point. When it comes to Orden Ogan, the general sound of Orden Ogan, I mean, we are mostly referred to as a power metal band. I think it's that the thing that is most close to it, but I don't think I mean, if you say power metal, Orden Ogan would not be the first band that comes to your mind. I think it really transcends the borders of power metal. I think it's a lot harder, a lot more riff heavy in certain parts. And also, I mean, we have our fun songs as well.
Right.
But I think for the most part, it's also like a lot more like sad, melancholic or serious as well than a lot of other bands are. Like we're really not like a fun power metal band, like, you know, like what I mean. There is heavy metal that a lot of people know. I think it all originates from, as far as I can remember, when I listened to And Justice for All, when I was like really, really little. Then I listened to Blackened and I thought, you know, this is perfect. This is like, I imagine heavy metal, you know, you got the great guitar tone, like this really heavy riff. Hetfield is singing in this mid-range vocal. I really love that because I was never into this high-pitched thing. This is why we do it with Orden Ogan. Huh?
You weren't into the screamers?
No. I mean, I can do it, and I will do it occasionally, but I don't really like it too much. Like also like these super high falsetto voices and stuff like that. This is not my cup of tea. And the only thing that I disliked when I was a child was that I thought that this super great melodic intro, that should be reappearing in Blackened as a chorus, you know, because I was somehow missing the melody again with these multi-layered guitars. And so I think basically that is what we did later on with Orden Ogan. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I have music in my head like every hour that I'm awake. And I also have got music in my head when I'm sleeping. It happens that I wake up in the middle of the night and have dreamed a song and get up and like record some stuff. So yeah, I really have to say Orden Ogan is basically what's coming out of me, what I want to do for myself. And it's not like that I'm not doing that for anyone else. You know, it's just the thing that I want to do. It's the kind of music that I would love to hear. And I think it's that kind of music that basically no other band is doing in that way that we do it.
Now, who else out there that's out today inspires you? What other bands are on your playlist that keep you going?
I really have to say I can't really listen to music so much because I'm working in the studio when I'm not working on Orden Ogan. So you have got music around like all day, and if you have listened to music for like 8 to 10 hours a day, you're like really like, oh, come on, give me a break, you know. So it has gotten a bit rare that I will just put on music in the car. I think the last band that really got me, where I really thought, wow, this is amazing, was Ghost. When I listened to the Meliora record, I think that one is amazing, like really, really, really creative songwriting. And otherwise, I really have to say I'm actually also listening a lot to music that is well produced. You know, like the better the production is, the more likely I'm to like the music. Sounds weird, but I'm a big fan of the Andy Sneap productions, for example. He's a bit of my like my hero, if you want. And for example, so I'm actually listening to Exodus and Testament, stuff like that, though I'm actually not a thrash metal fan, you know, if you understand right. what I'm trying to say. If you ask me where I'm feeling home musically, it is actually pretty funny. I mean, people think that I'm like this power metal only guy, but actually, like if you say pick a CD and put it into the car stereo, it would be something British death metal, Bolt Thrower, Benediction, Napalm Death, stuff like that.
That's good stuff. Now, you talked about, we've mentioned it so far, the new album, Final Days. It's going to be released the 12th coming up. And how excited are you to have it in the hands of fans and opportunity for them to listen to that project that, well, it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen?
Yes, obviously very excited. So it's really great. You know, the thing is, especially when working in the studio, I mean, I had a lot of bands coming to me like saying, okay, we had some time now during the pandemic. We wrote a new record. Let's do something. And that's fine. But I also had bands that said, maybe we just cancel our appointment for now. because we can tour anyway, and so we don't really know if it makes any sense. To me, that is the worst thing that can happen. You know, just because we can tour right now doesn't mean that people would not like to listen to the music. Right. And I know there are so many people out there that are really waiting for a record. And I mean, the times right now are, it's not the best times that we can experience, right? So if we can give a little bit of hope or a little bit of sunshine, you know, in people's lives, then it's amazing. So for me, that was out of the question. It had been discussed if we want to postpone it any further. And I said, no, why should we? You know, if we can make people happy, then just bring it out and let them listen to that. And as soon as we can tour again, we can tour again. And if it takes some more years, that we won't hope, but then we'll just do the next record. Yeah, there you go. What else?
Now, has in Europe and in your locale, has it opened up at all for playing? Still just no live shows at all?
No, we're in total lockdown here in Germany, and there's basically just the supermarkets, and that's it. So there's nothing going on here right now.
So the music that you've been writing in the midst of the pandemic and all the lockdowns, has it gotten darker, or are you bringing some sunshine to people?
The thing is, you know, one funny thing is really that a lot of people, you talk to people obviously, and a lot of people are like, I'm sitting at home and this is a lockdown and I can't go out and everything is so bad. And I can just say, welcome to my life. You know, that's the life of the music producer. I'm sitting here at my mixing desk day in, day out, like in the night and stuff, and working a lot. And so it happens that I don't see a lot of people anyway. So actually not that much has changed for me. I mean, obviously it sucks that we can't play live. But I'm a very pragmatic guy, you know, so I was never a guy who was crying around about stuff. I mean, there's no benefit to it, you know. When I'm saying, we can play live, yeah, you know, the thing is, I would not say we can't play live. I will just say, okay, what can we do, you know? So, and if that doesn't work, we are not going to change it anyway. So there's it's a waste of energy to be complaining about that. It is how it is right now.
Now, what is the biggest thing that you've focused on in 2020 personally? Maybe instrumentation, writing. What have you worked on the most this last year?
I think I worked the most on fixing problems to get this record done. And like I said, this was I never experienced something like that before. So no, I was actually pretty busy doing that. And that was, like I said, there were some other productions that I had to do in the middle as well. And so you're basically working full-time, but not working full-time because there's all this other stuff going on all the time. And so like I said before, it was just like a very, very weird, very, very long process because normally, I mean, I'm a perfectionist and it takes a lot of effort to get this stuff done. But normally I would say if I work full time, it takes me 3, maybe 4 months to get a record done, not 12 or 14 months or whatever this was. Right? This was insane. I never had that before.
Now, what did you learn from this process that you're going to take into the next album?
Yeah, we learned something. And it was that, I mean, we couldn't expect it to happen like it happened right now. But the one thing that I really learned, I mean, we've been in pre-sale since November 2019, and it's amazing that we have the greatest fans because they didn't complain. They knew how the situation was, but it took longer and longer. So there are people that are waiting for like over a year for their record to arrive now, you know. So I'm really grateful that we have these amazing fans that say, okay, we know how it is, you know, so just send it over when it's done. And but what I learned is really that we, for the next record, we will be having everything completely ready before we make any further plans. So we will just rearrange that a little bit differently than we did before. I mean, the plan was actually good. It would have worked if it hadn't been for a worldwide pandemic. And all these weird things that were like my ghost in the studio who was with me all the time.
Yeah, I know, right. Well, see, I want to make sure and let our listeners know where to still pre-order the album and find out all the rest of the information about the band as well.
I think in the US it is probably the best to just go on Amazon and order it on Amazon. I think you can order on the AFM Records shop as well. Mm-hmm. So these two things are probably the best way to go. Yes.
All right. Well, Seeb, it has been great to have the chance to visit with you. Glad we were able to make it happen, and hopefully we can catch up again real soon.
Yeah, would be amazing. Thanks for having me.
Well, have you ever been talking with someone at a party or at a conference and whatever and thought to yourself, man, this is so boring, I really wish I could end it? Well, it turns out that you're not the only one who's bad at that. According to a new study out of Harvard, we're all really bad at knowing when and how to end a conversation. Now, the researchers found only 2% of conversations end when both people want them to. And only 30% of conversations end when one person wants them to. The rest of the time, you both feel like it's going on too long, but, well, no one knows how or when to break it off. So what should we do? Quote, whatever you think the other person wants, you may be wrong. So you might as well leave at the first time it seems appropriate, because it's better to be left wanting more than wanting less. So do you get that? Keep your conversation short and get out as soon as there's a good opportunity. Our next guest on the podcast, Dylan Jakobsen. We've been playing his music, it seems like, in infinity, it seems like. Dylan, first off, thanks so much for taking the time. Looking forward to talking about new music and, well, trying not to rehash too much of 2020, right?
We're ready to move on. It's a new year. But honestly, things have been really good. Like I guess that's just me trying to see the silver lining of things, but I think it hasn't been too bad of a year. I mean, it was a change of pace. You know, I'm so used to being out on the road and, you know, constantly on the move. And so just kind of pulling back and, you know, staying home and playing with the dogs and having the opportunity to really get back to, you know, just being a music lover and sitting around and appreciating, you know, the music that I grew up on. I just sit around and, you know, put on a record and just soak it up. And, you know, I had these so many opportunities to just be creative with, you know, writing music and producing music in my home studio here. And so it's been a good year, honestly.
Now, how has the writing been for you? Has it been more difficult to come up with inspiration on writing?
No. So maybe I'm weird. Maybe I guess, you know, for me, it's been really, really a great year I guess for writing purposes. Yeah, it's been a great year because you have all this inspiration with crazy things going on in the world. But also for me, it opened my mind to a whole new perspective on life that I feel like maybe I hadn't explored before. Maybe I was, you know, still searching for. And so for me, like, you know, this whole new record that we've been so anxious to get out that I've been recording this past year has really opened this whole new lane of, you know, I say positivity and hope and really just trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel and the silver lining of things. Yeah.
Now, I think I mentioned it in the email whenever I got the news about the new release. It said, every single I've seen growth in you, and to get feedback and to know that you're growing and evolving, and how proud are you of, well, looking back a couple years to where you're at today, if you will, in the industry?
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun to, you know, I'm all about, one of my biggest things that I always strive for myself as an artist is creative growth. I never want to, you know, find myself in a comfortable place and and just kind of like, okay, this is working for me. I'm just going to continue to do it over and over again. I'm always striving to be like, you know, what can I do when I'm writing this new song where I'm pushing my boundaries a little bit? And so for me, it's fun to look back and, you know, hear where I was even, you know, 2 years ago, or even, you know, because that was when I last put out a record, was 2019. Hearing where I was on I Am to where I am on this new record that we're going to put out, Set Fire to the Night. The difference is wild. And even going back further, you know, the first song that I ever put out to radio that I'm so thankful you guys played was Silverado. Yeah, and that was, it feels like ages ago. And I, you know, looking back on that song, like thinking of the person that I was then to the person that I am now, it's almost like night and day. Yeah. I feel like I'm in a completely different creative space than I was then. So it's really fun to look back and just see how far you've come and all the different phases that you've gone through.
Now you've done the radio tours before, and what was it like the first time you went out on a radio tour, walked up to the radio station and went in? I mean, were your eyes like that big? I mean, were you wide-eyed going in that first radio visit?
Yeah, the first couple are definitely nerve-wracking. I remember even before we did like the official radio tour, which was 2019. We had, well, luckily I had been around for a couple of years at that point. And so we had done some, you know, on and off, you know, we'd go on tour and we'd be in a market, and we'd, you know, before the show, we'd go stop at the radio station and do some stuff. So luckily I had, you know, had some prior experience with going into a radio station, and, you know, having a conversation and playing songs for the staff. It's funny because a lot of people I feel like there's a bad rep for like, oh, you go into a radio station and you sit in the conference room and you play for a bunch of people and you try to win them over. For me, that was my favorite part. Is literally because, you know, I've always been a performer, a songwriter and a performer. So for me, that was my stage. I'd be like, all right, we're playing in the conference room today. And I do everything in my power to just make that, like, you know, I was putting on a show in front of, you know, 1,000 people. I'd be like, all right, let's do this, guys.
Can somebody operate the lights for me real quick? Just up and down whenever we hit the chorus. Just
Yep. They'd all be in their swivel chairs, and I'd be like, all right, we're going to jump, and then go up.
That's awesome. The ones with the lift chairs are always a challenge, though.
Yep.
Now, how much over the last 12 months, I mean, how much has it made you miss getting out there on the road, doing the visits, doing the in-person stuff?
I miss it a lot. Yeah, to be honest, I miss it a lot. It's kind of, you know, a bittersweet thing because I've so much appreciated this time home. We had got our first dog back in, oh gosh, when was that? October of 2019. So we had a little puppy for a couple months there, right before everything shut down. And then we adopted her brother right before her actual biological brother. We adopted him right before the whole shutdown happened, right around like February, March. And so having all of that time to just be home and kind of just, you know, they're like my kids, you know?
Yeah, they are your kids.
So, yeah, they're like my kids. And so it's like, you know, you get to stay at home and, you know, hang out with the kids, spend a lot of time with them. And like I said, be creative. So for me, it's super bittersweet because I love all this time to be home. But for me, you know, the last decade of my life has been grinding, you know, playing every weekend, going out on the road, whether it's regional runs or, you know, traveling to different parts of the country and, you know, getting to see so many different parts of the country and so many different parts of the world through music, which is something as a kid that it felt so foreign to me. Like I was like, how, like that's got to be so far-fetched to be able to do something like that, where I can take my music and go play it in different parts of the world. So it's definitely something that I would love to get back to, hopefully sooner than later. especially with these new songs. It's like I have so many new songs that I have yet to ever play in front of a live audience.
Now, is that how you truly get the feel of and get the feedback? Know what the singles upcoming singles are going to be? Is based on kind of the reaction you get live.
I think so, and that was definitely the case with the last song that we put out to country radio. I Am was such a personal song to me, and so coming off of the previous single In America, we had been, we did the radio tour. We had gone off. A whole year of just playing an insane amount of shows. And it was weird because, I Am is such a personal song to me. It's literally telling the story of my life and all the different pieces of me. Because, the public sees me as this performer and an artist. But there's, all these different sides of me. I'm an uncle, I'm a brother, I'm a lover, I'm a trucker traveling to your town. So it's listing all these different things to me. And it's weird because after the shows, I remember I'd meet, we'd go to these markets and so many people would come up to me and they'd be like, this song is really connecting with me. And I think it's just because it's so honest. And so for that song to get out to the radio and be a single, I definitely think that, the fans have a huge role in that.
Now, how much does being away from the road affect your writing? I mean, how much of the road made its way into your writing during those times?
I think that, if I'm looking at the new record, there's a couple songs on there that have really, they look back. There's a song on the new record that I'm super excited on called 6. And it looks back at, these different periods in my life and, how the number 6 keeps pulling back to me, when you're 6 years old, when you're 16 years old. And when I'm at 26, which was the year that we were out on radio tour and the year that we were doing so many shows, we were out on the road, traveling 600 miles to go, me and 6 of my buddies to go, play. There's something special about it. And so I think that it definitely has affected me. But I will say that, being home from the road has opened up so much more time for me to be creative, because when you're on the road, it's a constant. You're on the move. You're in the hotel. You're waking up early. You're like, oh, we got to drive 10 hours today. And you're exhausted and driving those. For those, I'm sure a lot of people do long hauls, but there's probably a lot of people out there that don't know what it's like to travel 10 hours and how that can be exhausting as ever, just sitting in a car all day. And so when when we're off the road, it's opened up all of this time to be creative. And so I feel like I've grown tremendously as an artist. And, like I said, it's like looking back at all those phases, I feel like I'm in a completely different place than I was on the last record.
Now, because of all of the downtime, the separation over the last 12 months, how have you changed your normal way of doing things? And do you think any of the new way that you're doing stuff is going to carry over as we move forward?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think that I'm honestly, this whole process has been like therapy for me. I feel like I have changed my outlook on life. And it's come across in the music. I feel like a lot of these new songs, so far we've released Beautiful, which is about seeing the beauty in, the little things in the world around you. And then the new song that we just put out, Don't You Think, about trying to take this time and use it to do the things that you wouldn't have done otherwise. For me, it was, trying to wake up with the early birds, trying to, play fetch with the dogs, trying to learn to cook. There's so many little things that, it's changing your outlook on life. And that is something that will stay with me for a lifetime. I feel like I've, almost, grown up to the next level here. We're always trying to better ourselves. And I feel like that would be taking a step backwards if I went back to the way I was. So I'm happy. Like I said, it's therapy for me.
Yep.
I'm happier than ever. And hopefully it sticks.
Now we've talked about the creativity. You've spent a lot of time talking about the creativity over the last year. What maybe vocally or instrumentally did you really focus on?
For me, a lot of that creativity stemmed from getting back to, being a music lover. And I know I said that earlier, but for me, I've always been a physical album guy. I'm not about streaming at all. I'll go out and say it. I don't have a Spotify account. I don't have an Apple Music account. No, it's never going to be me because I like holding it. I like holding it in my hand. I feel like there's something special about it. I feel like when you actually own the music, you learn to appreciate it a little bit more. And so for me, I have LPs, I have I have probably about 750 CDs in the other room there. And so I can go, it's all alphabetized. I can go pick out a CD for the day, put it in, and just get back to being a kid. Because that was what made me want to be, doing this for a living. And so a lot of my creativity stemmed from listening to different artists and just, appreciating what they do and being like, wow, that sounds great.
Now what's the latest CD that you went and grabbed out of there for inspiration?
Yesterday I was listening to Bruce Springsteen's The Promise, which is I don't know if you know that record. It's his B-sides unreleased from his Darkness on the Edge of Town album, which came out in 1978. So it's like a little over 20 songs of just, that have been sitting for, 40 years now?
Yeah.
But I think that's my favorite record by him is Darkness on the Edge of Town. So it's definitely a treat to be able to get, more of what could have been on that record.
Now, for you, are you, whenever you're listening, are you more of the singer-songwriter type? Is that the type you like to really delve into musically, or does it just depend on the day?
I think it depends on the day. I'm all across the board. Yeah. And I think that, me having all these different genres that I listen to and all these different, not really... I've kind of always lived in my own little bubble. And so it's helped me create sonically a sound that, it might be like somebody else, but maybe it's not,
Now, I didn't ask you this before. I didn't know if you were prepared to play anything today. I didn't even ask you that before.
I could play you something. Yeah, I could play you the new one we just put out. I could play you one that we maybe haven't put out yet. It's up to you.
You tell me. You're the guest.
All right. Heck, why don't we play? We were just on the topic of talking about listening to music, so I'm gonna grab. Hold on, let me grab a guitar real quick here.
All right.
Ugh. So this is a new song that we actually haven't put out yet. This is going to be the next song that we put out. So your listeners are getting it first here.
Guinea pigs.
We'll try it out on you guys. This is a song about me getting back. The song's called Get Back. It's about me getting back to all the music that I grew up on and just appreciating it as a music fan. Let me take a sip of something here. Some dad fuel.
There you go.
Dog dad. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. $18-minute ride on any little hunk of metal. I get the back seat. Just enough time to unwind before we get back to school.
Untangling my headphones, been curled up in a ball inside my backpack. Now dangling from my ears, all those adolescent years you can't get back. Thinking about it makes me smile, so I'll turn on that radio dial. And I get back to the good time, get back on my records I was raised up on. I get back and find inspiration in a song. I get back on the saddle when I'm sad, I'll turn it back over again. Just like that, I get back. When I get back in black, spitting out speakers, it feels just like the first time. Fumbling fingers on a guitar, trying to figure out the parts those brothers play. When I get back home from school, yeah, all I want to do is just make music. When the bands would come to town, Mom and Dad would take me down, we'd get back late. So it's thinking about it makes me smile. So every now and then on that radio dial, I get back to the good times, get back on my records I was raised up on. I get back and find inspiration in a song. I get back on the saddle when I'm sad, I'll turn it back over again. Just like that, I'll get back. I get back, I get back, I get back. I get back. I get back, oh, I get back. I get back to the good times, get back on my records I was raised up on. I get back and find inspiration in a song. I get back on the sand when I'm sad, I'll turn it back over again. Just like that, I'll get back. Get back. Well, I'll get back. Hey!
You get back.
I get back.
There you go. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Now, Dylan, as you move on, we talked about the evolution of a singer-songwriter. Where is it that you noticed the biggest difference in yourself from just a couple of years ago?
I think it comes in, well, I think two things. I think it comes sonically. I feel like I'm always trying to push my boundaries sonically, but I feel like as a lyricist, I've tried to continually grow myself in that avenue. So yeah, I think looking back, you hear it in multiple elements, especially on, even comparing this song to, trying to think of a song I could compare it to on the last record. I feel like, yeah, that's hard. But yeah, overall, I think I see growth, in both avenues, and, hopefully other people do too.
That's what you're going for, right?
That's really what I'm going for. Yeah. My biggest pet peeve is when an artist, you know what you're going to get. and you get the same thing over and over again. And I feel like that would be hard to go play live, because how are you going to remember your songs? Because you might start, the band might start playing one, and you're like, oh, I thought that was the other song. And
Now,
you start to put out the same thing too many times, you might get confused.
Yeah, I know. How hard is that to make a differentiation between the one song and the next whenever you're in the zone writing wise?
I have a gut feeling. I feel like, so I've been writing songs since I was probably about 11, 12 years old. And luckily enough, I've been a physical guy. So, I have them all in songbooks, and it's kind of fun to go back and look at them all over the years and, see how much you've grown. But I feel like, you have a gut feeling that you're like, I've done this before. Maybe we shouldn't pursue that option. And if it is something I've done before, maybe let's see, okay, what can we do to it to make it a little bit more special? Always trying to push the boundaries a little bit and, learn something new, be creative. And because I feel like that's what, makes things continually exciting too. And, fresh. It makes me happy to, why am I blanking on the word there? Makes me just, happy to do music.
Right.
It keeps things fresh.
Now, Dylan, as the new music is coming available as well, what kind of goals have you set for 2021 after what we've all been through this last year?
Well, as of right now, we're hoping to get back out on the road and play shows, hopefully later this year. Sounds like things are on the up and up, so hopefully that continues and we can all start to tour again. But until then, I have actually been constantly right here. So this is, if I were on MTV Cribs right now, this would be where the magic happens, per se. This is the room where I write most of the songs these days. This is where I record all of the songs these days. So beautiful, don't you think? They were all recorded in this room. I got, a drum set over there, a wall of guitars over here, a vocal booth around the corner. So I think that continually having all this time to be creative, I've finished up the new album, which is super exciting. It's been a long creative process for me. Mm-hmm. And along the way, I have written in excess of material that we are continuing to record. So I think that I'm going to be ready to be pumping out lots of material for the listeners. And I'm super excited to share it.
Now, what was the most bizarre gig that you took in the pandemic? Did you do any gigs in the pandemic?
Honestly, not really. I think that, when it first started, everybody was doing the live, Facebook lives and all that stuff. So we did a couple of those, probably about close to a year ago now. And then really just kind of laid low, working on the new record. There was one show that we ended up doing back in October, right here in Nashville, that was super cool. People started doing those drive-in concerts, which I thought was fun. And one of our buddies here in town owns a hot dog company called Daddy's Dogs. Yep. And so we ended up doing a concert series at his pop-up stand in town, and it was really cool. We were on top of a shipping container. They had built out a nice, huge stage on top of a shipping container because they were doing a big concert series. And they just have people drive up and, sit on the flatbeds of their trucks and, eat some Daddy's Dogs. And it was a real fun experience. It felt great to be up on the stage because at that point it had been since February that I played shows. So that was a good 8-month gap, which is the longest I've ever gone since, graduating high school without playing a show.
Now, if folks want to keep up with the new music as it's becoming available, as the dates, as those become available too, all the socials, where's the best place? Probably the website.
Yeah, the website will link you to absolutely everything. The hardest part is spelling my name right.
I've tried.
Yeah, many have tried, many have failed. So the way that you would spell it is DylanJakobsen, and I'm sure if they're listening to this podcast right now, it's in the description. So DylanJakobsen.com, and you'll find all the new music there and all the tour dates. And we're getting ready to launch the pre-order for the new record. So stay tuned for that. I'm all about the physical copy, so that we're going to do some exciting things for that. So stay tuned.
Cool. Well, I'm going to have to pre-order my vinyl. I've got my 16-year-old. That is what she has fallen in love with. So we've got record players now in the house.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Any chance you can get to take the kids and get them away from streaming and get them back to the old school. I love it.
That's awesome. Well, Dylan, man, it's always good to visit with you. I know we've caught up on the phone a couple of times, and this is the first face-to-face. I appreciate you taking the time, brother. Looking forward to all the new music, and hopefully we'll get you back down this way real soon.
Absolutely. Hey, you take care.
Well, thanks again for joining us for this 35th episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, question, or anything else you'd like to know, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at GQ with Cam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, click the support tab and follow the instructions. If you have a special guest idea, email me, gqwithcam@gmail.com. Again, thanks so much to our good friend Brandon Allen for coming up with the theme music. We're going to let him play us out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Join me tomorrow for episode 36.